John Hamm and Rosamund Pike star in Beirut, a new thriller set in 1982 during the Lebanese Civil War. The movie, which was shot in Morocco and includes no Lebanese actors, has been criticized for its depiction of the 16-year conflict that claimed more than 100,000 lives. Screenwriter and producer Tony Gilroy first drafted the script in 1991, but it was considered too politically controversial to be made at the time. I sat down with him to talk about the controversy that continues to surround the film. You're coming in for some criticism about this movie from the Arab community in the US and in Lebanon. And I spoke earlier to Mr. Abed Ayoub, who's the Director of Legal and Policy Affairs of the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee. He told me, "It's obvious the film is racist in its nature. We're continuing to see Hollywood push this negative imagery and negative stereotypes. At a time of increased hate crimes and Islamophobia, they are contributing to the climate of Islamophobia." And I wonder what you have to say to that.
Well, I really feel the loss. I think when people look at the film, and I think anybody who spent time in Beirut in its heyday, or Lebanon in its heyday, it was a paradise. It was the most cosmopolitan city in the Middle East. It was the center of so many wonderful things. And it has really been paradise lost and paradise destroyed. I understand the sorrow and the longing that must come with that. The lead character in this film shares that belief. When we meet him in '72, he's married to a Lebanese woman. He's sponsoring a 12-year-old Palestinian boy. He's an Arabist. He speaks Arabic. He plans on making his entire future there. And the movie's about him. I'm not there to make a movie about Lebanese culture. It's a thriller.
Why is it called Beirut then?
Because it's a good title and it takes place there. Chinatown, there's nobody speaking Mandarin in Chinatown. I mean, it's a place. There are no Lebanese characters in the film. All of the people are interlopers. The PLO are invaders. The Americans are invaders. The Israelis are invaders. There's nobody in this film that I'm following in the 2 hours that I have to tell my story. There are no Lebanese balancing characters. Now, if I was going to have a wider canvas, a bigger thing to do, more hours, it might have been really interesting to balance that out. No one's debating the politics or the scholarship or the antagonism of all the various forces that are at play.
But there's the wider question.
This is what they think. This is what they say.
Yeah, but there's a wider question of how you relay those facts, and it seems that there are a lot in the Arab American community and a lot of Lebanese people.
Did you feel that way when you saw the film, that you felt it was anti-Arab?
I have to say that I lived in Beirut for a while,
okay,
and I thought that there were moments in it that seemed like a movie that was written in 1991, and that things that have been addressed, like the shot of a woman with a bikini and a woman with a full niqab and a tank on a beach, has become a cliche in talking about Lebanon. And to make a movie about a country without people from that country in it seems like a huge choice.
Well, there are no Lebanese characters in the film.
In moving forward, are you interested in spending more time with the communities and with those who are of the nationality of the country that your film is set in? Are you interested in taking on board any of the criticisms that you've heard from the Arab American community?
Boy, I've made movies all over the world. Movie making's taking me everywhere. I really like things to be honest and real. Storytelling in a 2-hour experience, everything takes a backseat to telling the story. Am I interested in changing my story, or would I be interested in having a scene that might satisfy, throwing a scene, I'm trying to think what the scene would be, and I'm really curious with some of the people that are criticizing the film, what would be the sequence or scene that would find its way into this film that wouldn't drop it in its tracks, that would satisfy this need? Or should we not tell these kinds of stories at all? Should we stop telling thrillers where the story is the most important? If we're doing a movie about Florida, should only Floridians play? Well, no, but
Floridians aren't a protected minority.
Well, I don't know who. Well, now that is white savior, though, isn't it? Who you feel you have to protect everybody. I don't know who. The definition of who needs to be protected when and where seems to be something that people will be parsing and arguing about without definitive answer ad nauseum.